evening. A warm welcome to all the members who have tuned in for today's session. Today's session is on a topic which is guidelines on authorized persons. I'm Abhishek Walalkar from membership relationship team, and we have our colleague from membership compliance team, Pradna Pinto. Pradna, thanks for joining in for today's session. Before we delve into today's session, I just wanted to leave a note with all the members. The endeavor from NSE side is to conduct sessions or bring clarity to you on the topics that you desire. And hence, I would request each one of you, if you have any suggestions or any feedback with respect to what session we should be conducting next, please feed that into your relevant relationship manager, and we will make a note of it. So without any further ado, I'll just jump into the questions. So the first question is from Swati. This is on can we have AP registration feedback on time from the exchange?
So, Abhishek, the current existing turnaround time for document verification, once the AP registration is uploaded on the ENET system, is 5 working days. So our team who looks after the registration, they have to do a lot of due diligences, as in the checks within the internal systems, PAN searches. So 5 working days is a good amount of time to do all those due diligences. And once the due diligence is done, we try our best to give the feedback to the trading members. Either there is some if the registration has gone through, or there is any rejection. We try to provide it to the members within that specified turnaround. Right?
So as she has answered, it's the TAT is 5 working days. In case if you have any further feedback or if you need to involve your relationship manager, feel free. Obviously, we will all help connect internally and try to get this at the earliest possible. So the second question here is on, as per the new guidelines, a trading member has to deactivate the terminal.
Okay.
If there is no turnover for the last 6 months. With regards to this, if an AP is having online clients, or if he wants to keep any terminal only for emergency basis or to check the positions, how can he do the same?
So this was a circular which we issued in June. Circular number is 56947, wherein we requested the trading members to regularly assess the registered APs. So that could be including the trading terminals, or that could be excluding, because there are certain APs they don't have a trading terminal. Right. So since the beginning, we have been saying it to the trading members that all the acts of the APs, the trading members shall be responsible for that. So what we would request trading members is that to keep on regularly reviewing the trading terminals, so that if in case anything is caught up, I mean, they catch something, they can take appropriate action against those terminals. So today, even though if the exchange will ask that why this terminal has not been done anything against this terminal, so if a proper background research is done, yes, that this trade, so we will have no issues with that. Just that trading members should be reviewing their APs on a regular basis.
Thanks, Pradnya. Moving on to next, is AP call recording necessary in case if the client of an AP or is in AP's office or gives any order verbally? How can that be recorded? So any thoughts on this?
So this is a mandatory requirement. In fact, there's a SEBI circular dated 2018. Wherein different modes of seeking confirmations are mentioned in that. For example, a client visits a AP office. Obviously, the call verification is not valid, or I mean, there's no point of taking a call verification. In that case, just take a piece of paper, take a proper confirmation from the client. It's kind of an authorization. So tomorrow, in case there is an investor complaint, there is some backing to the trades done.
Okay.
So that's the only point. So tomorrow, any case which will go into arbitration, there's a backing, and it will be useful to the trading members only.
Yeah, I think we have received multiple questions on this particular point. Yes, so important to note, there needs to be certain basis in which the instructions from the relevant client is being sought and recorded. Thanks, Pradnya. Moving on to next, inspection required for those registered APs has no terminal, and he has introduced the client and trade directly through member office. Please clarify or elaborate.
Okay, so there's a circular, exchange circular 42448, which was issued in 2019, wherein we say that trading members shall inspect their APs, 30% of the active APs. in a period of once in 3 years. So what is the definition of active APs? Any person or any AP who has done one transaction in a year.
Okay.
Okay, so then it is completely up to the trading member how they want to inspect their APs.
Okay.
However, again, let's not wait for 3 years.
3 years.
You have to regularly keep on reviewing, doing
Got it.
surprise checks, surprise audits, calling the clients of the APs.
Yeah.
That will give us a lot of
Comfort.
comfort because as I again said,
Yeah.
trading members are responsible for all the acts of APs.
No, this is noted. I think you're referring to the circular 42448, right?
Exactly.
Which they can.
In fact, there's another circular, as I mentioned earlier,
56947.
56947. We have increased the scope from active APs to all APs.
Okay.
So eventually, from next financial year, anyways, they will have to inspect all the APs, irrespective they're active or inactive.
It's an important point. Members, please make a note of it. This is effect from next financial year, wherein you'll have to inspect all the APs, and it is not restricted to only active APs any further.
Yes.
So moving on to the next, if the authorized person is not alive, can we cancel their registration immediately?
Yes. In case of death of AP, trading members are requested to submit the request form to the exchange at the earliest, as in when they come to know. There are certain formalities, as in they'll have to submit duly certified death certificate along with the covering letter, which also comprises a list of the APs.
Okay.
But they will have to submit it as soon as they come to know about the
And
death
then
of
exchange
the
will act on it.
Yes.
Sure. Moving on to next, can exchanges offer a universal registration for authorized persons to use across all the exchanges?
So currently, as per the current procedure, every exchange has got their own follow their own due diligences in terms of AP onboarding. So as of now, this functionality is not really available, but surely, I mean, we can have a look at it. It's a good.
It's a valid feedback, and we'll make a note of it. In fact, I mean, through all these questionnaires, whatever are the key takeaways, we have been noting it internally, and that has been taken for deliberation internally as well as with the regulator, as the case may be.
Yes.
Just moving on to the next question, which is why a HUF or NRI cannot become an AP?
So again, whenever exchange have issued any circulars, there's always a backing of a regulation from the regulator. So if I refer or if I go back, so as per the regulations which is set by SEBI, HUF and NRIs are not part of that. Okay, so accordingly, exchanges have laid down their own processes on basis of that.
And this is dated back 2009.
Yes.
That's where it is.
That's yeah.
Sure. Thanks. Moving on to next. If an AP is not active and not traceable even after multiple attempts to contact them, can the exchange allow us to cancel their registration in a short period of time? In the case where termination letter is not able to be delivered to the initial registered address.
Okay, so as trading members are expected to review the APs on regular basis. Let's not wait for 6 months also.
Right.
You should do it regularly, basis of 3 months. If they come across any AP which is untraceable, ideally in such scenario, they should immediately submit the request to the exchange. A detailed detailed procedure for cancellation of untraceable APs are provided already on the NSE website. Okay. I can just give you the path. The path is NSE. They go to nseindia.com. Under trade, become a member, processes, and authorized persons. Okay. You will find 4 tabs there. Got it. All the circulars, all the processes, all the attachments or formats are available in that.
Absolutely, this is helpful. So members, please make a note of it. She has also shared the relevant part. If you still have any questions, please do write to us and we'll be more than happy to answer back. In case of, the next question is if the client places an order on mobile conversation, how can the AP maintain pre-order confirmation? I think you addressed it to a certain extent, but broadly, I think we are saying that the voice recording capabilities or other basis in which he can justify needs to be provided.
So tomorrow, if in case of any investment complaints and it goes into arbitration, there has to be a valid proof of the trade confirmations being done. It's in the benefit of the trading member to have such small things in place. It's not a small thing. In fact, it's a most important thing to be in place so that they are safeguarding their own selves.
So even in case if the call is not on the stipulated line, and if it comes on mobile, I think there needs to be certain recording or.
So again, it is specified. There's a SEBI circular to it, 2018 circular. It's prevention of unauthorized trading.
Okay.
They can just go through that.
And
It's provided in detail. Like what are the means of doing authorized pre-trade confirmations.
Thanks, Pradnya. This is helpful. Moving on to next, if an AP only wants to have a view terminal to monitor orders without actually executing the same,
Okay.
do they still need to adhere to the compliance requirements such as maintaining call recordings and signboards? That's question number one. The other question from the same person is, will a one-time written or email pre-order confirmation or a weekly pre-order confirmation be acceptable? We have taken care of this one. And the third question is, if partner wishes to place a bulk order, how should the pre-order confirmation process be handled?
Okay, so the first question here is first question I would like to address is that compliance requirement is applicable to all the registered events, be it having the trading terminals or not with the trading terminals. So important things like so call records will not be applicable for those with non-terminals. But in case or AP has got only is not having a terminal, but however just managing the administrative stuff. So in such cases, they need to have a proper signboard, a register, a grievance register, visitor book. So all these things, which is already so we have already covered in the scope.
Okay. Okay.
It's already been provided in the circular 42448.
Okay.
So they can just go through it. What all will be broadly checked in that.
Got it.
So again, it's just the gist of it. I mean, trading members are free to have their own set of additions to that.
Got it. But broadly, member needs to refer to 42448 circular, which clearly outlines the guidelines. And obviously, they can, fine tune or frame, any additional checks and balances accordingly. So thank you. The next question here is, it has been directed that at the time of onboarding a complete address, we need to take necessary details, building, state, area, PIN code, etc. At times, the government issued ID card is being shared with the exchange. And if this proof issued by the government is being rejected, what would be the alternate way out for registration of an AP?
Okay, so this point we just introduced in the circular which we issued in June 2023, 56947 again. We as an exchange came across a lot of addresses which were not complete. I'll give you some instances. Talab ke paas.
Okay.
Okay, Talab ke paas and whatever the name of the place. We have come across addresses like so and so mohalla.
Okay.
And
right.
Today, if I, as a regulator, go to the
To
validate, or tomorrow SEBI will go for the inspection, we should be primarily be able to find the address. Right. That is the main objective of having this point in the circular. When we realize that there are many such addresses and the frequency of such addresses we saw through the AP registrations are more. And hence we introduce this point. Let's see, I'm not saying that everybody will stay there has to be a proper room number, flat number, then which area. Right. Followed by the city and the PIN code. Right.
Obviously, I think this is, I mean, this is very logical, but yeah, having said it specifically for those cases where the address is a little bit ambiguous, vague, not very clear, I think it's more applicable, and that's the reason the circular was being brought into effect.
In fact, in the circular 56947, we have in that enhanced due diligence point, we have informed, we have advised trading members to have site visits, in-person verifications, so they themselves are aware if this address is valid or not.
Thank you. Moving on to the next question. Non-receipt of certificates when there is a change in the address of AP. Please advise or please guide.
Okay, so trading member, whenever there is a change in address of authorized persons, they can very well write to the DL compliance email ID,
Okay.
and the team will help them with the revised certificate.
Okay, the next question, in accordance to the circular, we are required to conduct inspections of the APs based on their brokerage. However, it's important to note that not every AP may have actively worked or would have brokerage every month. Therefore, how can we determine which APs to be scheduled for inspection during a period?
Okay, so this will be valid from next financial year.
Okay.
Again, covered in the circular 56947, wherein we have advised trading members to conduct the AP inspections basis the trading volumes and turnover. So, for example, if an AP, as on 1st of April 2024, have around 100 APs, 100 APs. What they have to do is that they have to chronologically, in a
In a descending
chronological
order, yeah.
order, maybe they can arrange their APs and then they can decide. So in the circular itself, we have given a proper tabular format,
Okay,
how
okay.
it needs to be conducted. So like top 50% of the registered APs, top
Got it.
50%
Needs to be
once a year.
once a year.
The subsequent top 30% and once in 18 months.
Okay, okay,
And the balance in once in 2 years.
got it.
Again, they shouldn't restrict themselves for this. They should be regularly conducting surprise visits, surprise
On their
inspections.
side.
It's for their own benefit.
So important, I think the table illustrating the inspection frequency has been already provided on the exchange circular. Please do refer to that. And in addition to that, obviously, as Pradna has advised, you can probably have additional or more frequent visits and not be restricted only by that particular circular. So thank you. Moving on to the next. It's a long one, but broadly it says that as per the circular dated 24th April 22, fines for non-conduct of AP inspection, delay in reporting, incorrect submission is ranging from 10,000 to 25,000 per day. So if NSE audit may be carried out after 2 financial years, and by chance if there is any mistake of any staff member, the fine will be 25,000 into years taken, say 2 years or 720 days, which amounts to 1 crore 80 lakhs if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, which is too high. So can we make that reasonable?
Okay. So penalty is levied by the exchange only in case of non-compliances. Today, as I explained it a while ago, that today on 1st of April 20 of any year, you take a stock of APs, you will have a projection in mind that how do you want to inspect your APs. If you go by the current guidelines, it was once in 3 years.
Correct.
Okay, so maybe you can have for example, out of like 100 APs, you have decided maybe 50 were needed to be conducted AP inspection. Then divide those 50 into proper 4 quarters and then accordingly do the reporting.
Got it.
Okay, so that's the only way. So penalty is just not levied otherwise.
Right.
Only if we find there's a non-compliances. And I feel again, it is more important for the trading members to safeguard themselves, because tomorrow anything goes wrong, their own brand is at stake. So I feel they have to take this more seriously than just the tick mark exercise or just the exercise given by exchange of uploading inspection reports on the website.
No, well said. Just moving on to the next question. The name fetched through PAN website should be valid in case it doesn't match exactly as per the PAN card, which is submitted as proof. So they have given, so basically member has given a small example as in it's
Okay.
Mahadi Vaishnav and the name as per the PAN card is M. Vaishnav
Got it.
Reddy. So how do we tackle such cases?
Okay, so at the time of AP registration, as I said, there's due diligence done by our team. Trading members are required to ensure that the name is consistent all across the proofs they have submitted, including the PAN websites. I'll give you a small example. For example, my name on the PAN card is Pratnya P. Pinto.
Okay.
However, the P, it's just the initial. However, the P of my father's name is given below.
Okay.
Or there is another proof that my husband's name starts with P. Okay, so we can correlate. Such cases we do take care of. So such cases we don't reject.
Got
But
it.
then there are cases wherein it is inconsistent all across.
Got it. Got it.
So such
Those
cases gets
cases
rejected.
So again, important to note if it's a minor mismatch and if it's like supported by an adequate proof, which has been provided. In that case, these cases are not being rejected. Having said which, if it's little ambiguous, vague, the name, probably surname doesn't match at all, then as an exchange we don't have a choice but to have it rejected. Moving on to the next question, it's in case of a proprietor, the letterhead, is it okay to be on the individual proprietor's name or it needs to be on the trade name?
So the letterhead is required to be in the name of the applicant name as well as the trade name.
As well as the trade.
Yes.
Okay. Please allow partners to register as an AP if house number is not mentioned in the address proof.
So as per the current regulations, exchange regulations, a partner or a director, an existing partner or a director associated with the trading member or AP cannot be a AP, cannot be associated as a AP. So again, we come back to the address part. Make sure that the address which is there is complete in all ways so that we could accept those cases. Because again, there are regulations in place for having having limitations of accepting such requests.
Thank you. Moving on to next, please provide us documentation for cancellation of non-traceable AP.
Okay, I have already given the path. Yeah, it's available on the.
This is
NSE
answered
website.
earlier. She has already mentioned the path which can be referred to in the previous question. If AP is not active for the last 2 years, but now he wants to be activated, then can the AP consider this as an active AP or inactive AP? I think you clarified, right, that within a financial year.
Yes. So our circular 4244 says that the definition of active AP is one transaction in financial year. However, again, I go back to the circular issued recently 56947, which says that you have to review the your APs on regular, maybe a 6 monthly or quarterly basis, and you have to address them then and there. Let's not wait for 2 years for that.
Thank you. Just moving on to next. AP details on website is required register address, whereas the office address is different from the address which is mentioned on the website. So that's point number one. And second, maybe you want to answer this one first.
Yes. So I believe that this is in context to the new circular which member compliance has issued, which is maintenance of website. So as per the circular, SEBI has mandated all the trading members to have the details for the benefit of their investors to all the details of the trading members on their own side, and that URL needs to be reported to the exchange. There is a circular 56350, which was been issued by member compliance again, and which has got all the formats. And if they go through the format, the registered address of the APs needs to be specified on the website.
AP AMC shall be in a PAN basis and not a AP number basis, as AP may get registered as AP for different segments at different times.
Yes. So the AMC again, we are going to start from next financial year. So from 1st of April 2024, all the registered APs as on that particular day shall be will be eligible to pay the AMC fees will be applicable to those APs. So having said that, the AP fees, AMC fees will be charged basis the PAN and not on the AP registration number.
Okay.
Because AP can be registered in different segments.
So it's basis the PAN number.
It's basis the PAN number.
Yeah, I think this should help clarify because we had received a few more questions on this particular point as well. Moving on to next, any lenient view to be considered on 5B of 56947, specifically for APs located in rural areas.
Going back to the same.
Yeah, we have answered this one.
Yes.
So the next is any expected changes in fee structure?
We have just introduced it. So as of now, we don't see any change in that.
Okay. So the revised circular as per 56947 continues to be applicable. Thank you.
In fact, we have given relaxation to the trading members opting for the cancellation of APs. That's a big relief to them. Today, all trading members have to do is that they have to review and they have to finalize if they feel that this AP is
Needs
not
to
really
be.
active.
Okay.
They can go ahead and cancel it without any fees.
Accordingly, they'll see the benefit as in obviously no fees will
Yes.
get charged.
Yes.
So again, important to note the relaxation which has been just outlined by Pradnya. So in case if the APs are not active or probably if they review and feel that they don't want to consider that particular AP, then obviously the fees get waived off accordingly. Can AP whose registration is cancelled due to disciplinary actions can become the client of any other firm?
Okay. So the current norm says that any AP who's getting cancelled on a disciplinary ground cannot become a AP or cannot get associated with exchange in any other firm. However, there's no restriction of they getting enrolled as a client with anybody else.
Sure, noted. Just moving on to next. AP who does not work since long or from date of registration, do we need to do their inspection? If yes, what are the areas that we need to check? As inspection person asks us if you have to know their income source. If the AP is not in our touch, how do we know the same?
Okay. So let's break that into two
Two
parts.
pieces, yeah.
So the first is that with regards to the AP inspection, the scope of the AP inspection, what all points to be covered by the APs, the broad scope we have already issued in 42448. However, trading members can add their own points
Right.
and make it as elaborate as they can. That is first. Second is whenever they feel, again, it's the untraceable APs. Whenever they feel the comprehensive guidelines, the path as I mentioned earlier, they can just refer to that and then they can just follow the process.
Right. The next question is request to debit AP processing fees after registration. Is that feasible?
Again, as per the current process, we are debiting. Once the trading member submits the request, the AP fees gets debited.
Okay.
So this is the decision which we have taken as an exchange. So
But if this is a feedback, maybe we can just
yeah,
check
we can
internally
just
and we
check
can review
internally
this
and we
particular
can
piece.
review this.
So we'll surely make a note of it. Thanks for raising this. If there are any any way out or anything that can be considered, please note. Obviously, we'll be taking it internally and we'll keep all of you posted. The next question here is: can we e-sign AP registration documents?
Currently, physical signatures are mandatory. So as of now, I mean, there's no such provisions. However, again, this we can take it as a feedback. We can discuss it internally, and then we can have informed
e-signature.
Yes.
AP registration charges, which is 5,000 per segment, should it be at par with BSE, which is 4,000 per segment?
So we have already addressed the AP fees. We have just recently revised. So currently we don't see, we are just going by that.
Okay.
However, whenever there is a change, we do inform the market via issuance of circulars.
So the revised charges has been outlined in the circular 56947. Members can make a reference to that, and this is a recent revision. So probably you need to take a note of it. AP registration charges applicable in NSE's commodity derivative segment is nil anywhere in the portal or circular. As a member has reservation that such charges can be levied, can a written communication on this be provided?
Okay, so there's already a circular issued on this, circular number 54336, wherein no transaction charges will be levied on the commodity derivative segments. So this is as of now, as per that circular, it is up till 31st of October 2023. Again, a revised circular will be issued. However, currently we are not levying any charges for that segment.
As we near that particular date, probably we'll come up with another circular.
So this is issued by the finance team. So any further updation, they will issue a new circular.
And obviously the relevant relationship manager will keep you posted. But if you have any further questions as we near that particular date, you can always reach out to the concerned RM. The next question here is: can an AP work out of members registered or branch office?
So APs, okay. First is that AP, if he's going to work out of operate from a trading member's branch office or a member or their office, they will be considered as an employee. Okay, so currently they will, I mean, they're required to operate from the address which has been informed to the exchange.
I think if I'm not wrong, I think probably the relationship tab there just shows in the e-NEET portal as employee. They may not be able to update that as an
AP.
Noted. The next question, moving on to next, can you brief on the compliance to be done by brokers as an AP? I think this is fairly simple. I think you need to refer to the relevant circulars issued by the exchange from time to time.
Yes.
With reference to circular number 56041 and 55716, if any AP is having restricted words in the name, will that be allowed to be changed in the system? If yes, are there any procedural aspects defined for the same?
Okay, so in case of a registered AP of the exchange, trading members can submit the request for change in name through the e-NEET path, change in applicant name or trade name.
Trade.
So there's a tab which they can select and they can change the name.
Sure.
So this is applicable only for the existing APs of the exchange.
Okay, thanks. I think again, 56947 members have submitted data of active, inactive, untraceable APs to the exchange. In suo moto, or are the members expected to act on it and close by themselves, or are there any procedural guidance which can be shared by NSE?
So trading members are they are required to review the AP's active and inactive status, and then they have to take the action themselves.
Okay.
Exchange will not be doing any. I mean, will not be closing out any APs.
Got it.
They will have to submit the request.
So members will have to take the necessary action.
Yes.
Again, I think similar question on untraceable APs. In case untraceable APs are not closed, will exchange apply any charges on such APs?
Yes, hence we are requesting all the trading members to review. I mean, the circular was issued in the month of June 2023. So we have already given them enough time to start working on their AP bills so that at least by 31st of March 2024, they close out on the APs. And let's not wait for the last moment. Let's get it. Let's start working on it right now.
And starting 1st April 2024, annual maintenance charge will be applicable
to all the registered APs of the exchange.
So yeah, please note as in you have time until 31st March to review, and then probably the AMC charges starting 1st April 2024 starts on all the registered APs. So
all the APs needs to be closed before 31st of March.
Right. I mean, anything remains open and then probably the charges.
Because it shouldn't happen that 31st March, they are submitting the request on 31st March and we are expected to close out.
Correct. No, thanks. It's again important to note, let the requests, if any, come by much prior to that. And please ensure after you liaison with the exchange that the APs are being closed by 31st March to avoid any annual maintenance charge. Some of the old certificates are not available on member portal. Okay. Download log menu and later it takes time to request to get it retrieved.
Trading members can send an email to DL compliance email ID and the team out there will help them out in such cases.
Sure. I'm just quickly reading out the email ID. It's dl-compl-mem@nse.co.in. Please do make a note of it and feel free to write to this particular DL to get such kind of queries addressed. The next question here is AP is operational from broker premises, but registration is done on the residential address. Is that permitted?
So again, when the exchange will go for an inspection, they will go to the address which has been specified to report it to the exchange. So what our expectation is that, or rather when trading member also conducts the inspection of the AP, they have to check if the terminal is on the same address which has been reported.
Moving on to next, application once received, if rejected for minor reasons, should not be charged again on the resubmission of the same PAN stroke AP.
Okay. So we have been getting a lot of such requests. For example, the initial name and there is a name or there is an error in the PAN which has been mentioned. What I would request to all trading members is that at least those two details needs to be updated correctly.
Okay.
Rest of the things are editable.
Right.
Okay. However, these two things are the most important thing. Maybe you can have a maker checker concept at their end.
So only in these two fields where it is uneditable, I think we are levying charges. For rest, I think we are not
Because what
charging them.
happens is that first two fields, okay, it's the main details. If they fill that wrong, and rest of the things can be are editable. Once they submit it, the fees will be deducted.
Got it. Thank you. That clarifies. Moving on to next, deficiency identified in application should be given on basis of whole application. As in certain cases, members said every time they resolve any query, NSE team identifies any new query in the application. I think this is again straightforward. Maybe the suggestions that we had provided whenever the new submission has been done,
Exactly.
those are not being adhered to, and that's the reason there is a bit of a to and fro and additional queries which are being levied. So
Yes, correct.
that answers. Moving on to next, I think we had taken this particular question. This is the relationship option. Does not provide. So let me read it for the benefit of everyone. Can AP operate from registered office of member? If yes, the innate system only accepts employee and no AP while updating the relationship of user. What due diligence to be followed while onboarding the AP? Please highlight. I think members will need to refer to the exchange, the relevant circulars. It has been clearly outlined and the circulars are also duly updated. In case if you still have any queries, please feel free to reach out to the relevant RM and membership compliance team. We'll be able to address the same.
In fact, any last circular, if they refer to 56947, if they see the start of the circular,
it outlines
all the circulars are mentioned there so that they can easily refer to those.
Yeah, that's again important to note. Thanks for clarifying that. The next question here is what due diligence member is required to follow in case of reactivation of AP terminals?
Again, no.
That's outlined on the exchange, right?
Yes.
Moving on to next question. Any specific format for grievance register or visitor registered at AP office? So
currently there is no specific format. However, it's left to the trading members how they want their, the registers to be maintained at their end. Because we don't want it to be fixated at one thing. Because if I see any complaint, there might be every complaint is different in nature. So they're free to add, but yeah, the basic details such as the name of the investor, PAN, and the nature of complaint, contact details. These are the basic things which are required to be available.
So it's largely left to the trading member, but as you outlined, as in certain basic details needs to get captured. Two authorized persons, can they operate out of the same office? Is it allowed as per compliance?
Yes, it is allowed. However, there has to be a proper demarcation. So, for example, two individuals sitting from the same office, if I'm sitting here, a proper demarcation with all the registered certificates and all the notices should be available. If you are also sitting in the same office, and there has to be a proper demarcation.
So to answer as long as there is an appropriate demarcation and it's very evident, the demarcation is very evident, it is permissible. Moving on to next question, client intimation prior to 30 days is required for AP office address change. Can you please clarify?
Yes, the intimation 30 days prior notice it is required to be given.
Okay. Thanks. Moving on to next. Name confirmation. As per circular, few names are not allowed. Once we ask name confirmation on board line, then they will not be able to give a final confirmation. Okay,
so again, there are two circulars which we have issued, and a comprehensive list is already provided. So it is very difficult for the helpline person also to get into this, or because sometimes we get list of such names. So it is difficult for the exchange also to confirm because we have already issued a comprehensive circulars. What we would request trading members is that they are requested to read the circular in detail. And if post that if they have a query, they can surely reach out to the our relationship manager, and relationship manager, they get in touch with us.
Got it.
For any such further deliberations or any such queries.
So thank you. Moving on to the next question. If any broker is terminated or he surrenders, then can we shift all AP under our name, which was mapped under them by submitting few additional docs?
So in this case, there are, I mean, they will have to go through the normal process of, canceling
It's like
the
a new-
APs, yes, and the new registration law. We can't just shift the base from here to here because again, there are a lot of things interlinked to that.
Got it. So it's like a cancellation and a new registration needs to be done. So members can probably make a note of it, as again, this has been a repetitive question. And we have seen like at least 3 or 4 questions around this particular piece as well. So moving on to next, director of a TM who is a director at an AP cannot apply as an AP in NSE for third party broker, I think. Rejection reason is that the director of AP is associated with another TM. Is this accepted? It seems it is accepted in BSE and MCX. Can you please comment?
So we just covered this point. However, in that case, the example was of a partner. So any partner or a director, if they are associated with the exchange, with the trading member or with the AP, there is a restriction because it's as per the regulations, exchange regulations.
Thank you. A TM wants to surrender TM membership in NSE and wants to become an AP with us as they want to continue the business in the same name. Please propose a solution with this so that there is no or limited downtime. The same TM has got AP license from another exchange.
So we covered that point wherein
it's basically considered to be a cancellation and then new registration. But in this particular case, will there be any downtime or if that can be avoided?
Unfortunately, yes. Because we can't just shift the base from one TM to another TM. We will have to disassociate, deregister all the things from here, from this A TM to B and get it registered to B TM. And this can't be done basis just the request. We will require a request from the original TM and also with the new from the new trading. Because what happens is that at a time of AP registration, there is always an agreement done between the AP and the trading members.
Right.
And those are those legal terms which are mentioned in that.
So technically the cancellation needs to happen first and then this application
needs to be.
Thank you. The next question here is how to make inactive AP as active. Kindly advise.
Okay, so the definition again of the active AP is that one financial transaction in a year.
One transaction in a financial.
Okay, so here today when you'll be reviewing your APs, if you feel that this AP has suddenly stopped doing the transactions, maybe you'll have to first find out the reason why this has happened. Or maybe there was an inactive AP and suddenly started, becoming active, and there is a huge difference in the trade volumes. Then again, that's a trigger for the trading members. Again, active, as I said, just make sure that there is a transaction. The APs are constantly doing transactions, and it shouldn't be restricted to only one transaction.
Yeah.
Just because the norm says so. Because from next financial year, the AP inspection shall be applicable for all the registered APs.
Right. And not only to the active APs.
And not only to the active APs.
Thanks. So moving on to the next question. Why is it compulsory to close inactive AP? Why can't we make the same as active?
Okay. So again, it is in the benefit of the trading member. As I gave an example, it's a trigger, right? An inactive AP suddenly doing business. I mean, see, when I say business, as in there's a huge difference in the volume. So that's a trigger for the trading members. It is again in the benefit of the trading member, and I would really urge all the trading members to take efforts to get into the statuses or review the statuses of the APs.
On a
I think
periodic
since
basis.
my first question,
Yeah.
I have been repeating
Stressing on that particular
stressing on the part that tomorrow anything goes wrong,
It's the
trading members
responsibility of
are
the team.
responsible. I mean, and in all our circulars, we have been mentioning that trading members shall be held responsible for all the acts of the APs.
So again, very important to note because I think this is again a more of a repetitive question. So periodic monitoring may not be restricted to the the guidelines of the circular itself. Obviously, I mean the frequency can be even better. I think she had outlined 3 months, 6 months.
Yes.
And ultimately, it's the responsibility of the TM. And hence important the relevant monitoring is being done at your end. I think the last question that we have for the day is: can AP do trades in member prop code?
No, APs cannot do because member, if a TM today has registered themselves as a proprietary trading, obviously AP cannot do business there. So that's the logic. Um, however, again, I would really, just to give a glance of the circular which we recently issued, just to give a brief what all needs to be taken care by the trading members for their benefit, is that we covered few things such as we revised the fee structure which has been introduced. We have removed the cancellation charges, which is whenever a trading member feels that the AP is not really active, they can get in touch. I mean, they can cancel the APs. Second is that constantly reviewing the trading terminals or their registered APs on maybe on a quarterly basis or a 6 monthly basis. Then we have given the norms for the due diligence, enhanced due diligence, such as doing a surprise visits, the site visits of at the time of onboarding, a thorough check of the KYC which has been provided. Then again, the brief regulations which we have mentioned that about the director and partner, how they cannot be associated. Then we have provided details on. In fact, there's a revised AP inspection or revision in AP inspection, and again the scope we have reiterated in that circular.
Oh.
And we have also covered most important thing is about the complaints of the if they come across any such instances of a complaint against their AP, what all things they will have to do. So they will have to instantly send a notice to the trading member, inform the clients of the APs. Apart from that, they have to send. They have to do a newspaper notification.
Okay.
Okay, and then lodge a complaint.
Okay.
A police complaint, because it's finally a complaint which they have received, and there's a monetary implication. So these all things needs to be done, and they can cancel such APs, and whenever they cancel it on the exchange portal, they will have to submit the request along with the newspaper notification. So it's already provided.
Outlined in the guidelines.
It's
Okay.
already been provided in the guidelines. However, these are few important
Things
things.
to be made.
And whenever you feel that a AP is not traceable or inactive for a while, it's a risk.
Right.
And at the end, as I have been saying throughout our questionnaire, that AP trading members are responsible. So I feel that they
all the more important that they
for
stay
them.
vigilant
Yeah.
and be proactive. I would say in terms of adhering to whatever things that she has outlined just now.
Yes.
So I think with this, we are actually at the end of our session. I would like to thank all the members who have posted their questions. I will try to read out names of each of these members. In the interest of time, there has been certain duplication, so possibly your name does not get read out because it was a duplicate question. But let me just start off with the first, which is Swati Kametkar from JM Financial Services, Dimple Soni from Swastika Investmart, Comfort Securities, Devang from Market Creators Limited, Tonmay Datta from Zerodha, Vinay HG from Zerodha, Dipankar Roy Zerodha, Payal Oswal Mehta Equities, Navneet Parikh Samco Securities, T. Sekhar Sarma Aditya Birla Money Limited, Nikita Tiwari, Swastika Investmart, Kamlesh Shah, GJ Shah Financial Consultant Private Limited, Praveen Naidu from Mirai, Amit Arora from Prudent Corporate Advisory Services Limited, Shraddha Nilesh Karia from Prithvi Finmart Private Limited, Shailesh Shingal from Zaveri Securities Limited, Girija Mokal from Anand Rathi, Amita More from Anand Rathi, Sonu Chawla from Gill Broking Private Limited, Neelu from ISS Enterprise Limited, Pravir JM Financial Services, Manan Panchal from Tipstrong Stock Broking, Drashti from Pravin Ratilal Shares, Manan Panchal Tipstrong Stock Broking, Shailesh Sinwal from Zaveri Securities. Then we have few questions from 5 Paisa, Kedia Commodity Comtrade, Mehta Equities, JG Financial Consultant, HDFC Securities. Just not getting into the names of it. Philip Capital, Vibrant Securities, Shilpa Stockbroker Private Limited, and the last one from Dwaja Shares Securities Private Limited. So thank you everyone. I hope you find this extremely useful. And as we try to come up with another topic, as I mentioned earlier, feel free if you have any suggestions, do reach out to your RM or you can reach out to me. We'll be happy to provide more clarity or get back to you in taking up that particular topic for our next session. So thanks again.
Thank you.